Ooh-wee. All right. Hey, everyone. Happy 8 p.m. It is Richard, as always. And today's conversation is where does self worth come from? This is just a conversation I was having with Woo Woo. And yeah, so let's talk about this. This is going to be another open forum. I've thought about this a lot, but I'm going to be very honest. I'm like half awake right now, as in like I've been working a lot today. I've been under a lot of anxiety and like just a lot of just too much thinking, overwhelm today. Just like there's so many things going on, and I guess in a way, it kind of a huge all the chaos that happened today ended up kind of leading to this one question, which is where does self worth come from? Like that's the one question I get to answer in this moment because I think it's something that I if you have been following my whole channel has been around self-esteem and self-worth, all this kind of stuff. So I want to talk about this. And what I want to do is I want to break down where's my own self-worth coming from? Let's be real here. This is going to be a very open, honest conversation, and it's going to be interesting. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. So let's talk about this. I want to dissect my own where does my own self-worth come from, because uh I do know at some level, but off the top of my head, I get to dig deep and really understand that for myself, and I invite you to figure that out for yourself. Where does your self-worth come from? How do you value yourself? um yeah, so I guess we can get started. I see some comments, which is awesome. um let's see. So let's dive into this. You know what? I'm gonna read comments because I feel like it. So a random person you possibly know, that's the username on YouTube. If everything is possible, nothing is impossible. Does that mean it is possible for something to be impossible? Oh my goodness, that's a trippy question right there. Nice question, nice question. Does it mean it's possible for something to be impossible? That's so meta. I don't know how to answer that. You got me there. That's what I'll have to say. Let's see. Robin asks, "How am I doing today?" How am I doing today? If you're asking me, or you're asking the random person you possibly know, regardless, as I mentioned today, I am good day. How do I say this? Very busy today, as in just worked all day. I stayed either I was productive, health wise, or I was doing something. I didn't waste a lot of. I didn't procrastinate a lot today, if that makes sense. I tried to do something productive always. But did I get a lot accomplished? That's debatable. It's hard to say. Like I did not get as much as I wanted completed today, but that's okay. I do feel a little bit overwhelmed, but let's keep the ball rolling. All right. So today's conversation, I don't know where you are at, peoples. I don't know where you are at right now, but honestly, I feel like this is such an important thing for me to answer for myself. Is where does my own self-worth come from, as in me, as in Richard Quo? I think it'll be super beneficial for you to look at it yourself during this live stream, because I think it's a really, really big question that we got to ask ourselves. If you're feeling sad in your life, or you're feeling like you're not good enough, or you feel like you're not at that right space, like you don't feel like you're quite there yet. I think understanding our self-worth is so important. So I'm going to dive into this live right now. Sorry, I know I talk a lot. That was too long of an intro. Let's do this. Okay. Oh goodness, this is gonna require some being vulnerable and being very real and honest right here. Okay. Um, where's my okay? Let's start off with defining self-worth. Okay, I think that's really important. So, again, this is all subjective. It's all going to be depending on our own definition. Um, I'm going to start off with the dictionary definition of self-worth. What does self-worth mean according to? I'm going to use Merriam-Webster for this one. According to, let's see. Okay, according to Merriam-Webster, they use self-esteem as the definition. Okay. Let's see. Another definition of self-worth is a feeling that you are a good person who deserves to be treated with respect. Cool. Let's see if there's other definitions here. Man, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of good definitions here. Oh, goodness. I'm just looking for other definitions here. Here, that's define worth. Okay. The definition of worth is good or important enough to justify, having a value of or equal in value to, as in money, having property to the value or amount of, character or quality as commanding esteem, importance as to the world to a person, or okay. I'm gonna leave at that. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to on this live stream right now. Like I'm a little bit overwhelmed, tired, exhausted, but let's do this. So my definition of self-worth to me is it's how much we value ourselves. It's it's how much we value ourselves. I think that's what self-worth is. It's like I think the question that comes up to my mind is, are we worth it? You know, are we X, Y, or Z? You know, I think self-worth to me is interesting. So self-worth to me is, am I deserving of this, whatever this is? So am I in Richard's context, is Richard deserving of a successful motivational speaker? Is Richard deserving of having people watch his stream videos? Is Richard deserving of owning I just made that up. Is Richard deserving of relationship? Is Richard deserving of what are some other things? Is Richard deserving of things or going on vacation, or is Richard deserving of being happy? So me, that's self-worth. It's deserving of blank. So that's kind of my own definition, you know. And I think it's going to vary. Everyone's going to have a different opinion self-worth is. So again, throughout the stream, I'd love to hear what are your thoughts. What do you think? What's your definition of self-worth? And number two is, where does self-worth come from? Okay, so let's this question. Where does self-worth come from? Sorry, I've been on now. We've been live for 8 minutes. I still haven't answered the question. I'm working on it right now. Self-worth. Where does my self-worth come from? Richard's self-worth in this moment. You know, my current past, my current day self. I would say my self-worth for better or for worse. I wish I had a more. I was gonna say I wish I had a more perfect answer, but that's not. I don't feel like it's a good thing to say. I feel like my self-worth comes from a few different sources. Again, this is me being very authentic. My self-worth comes from a kind of my habits. I think when I work hard, aligned in doing what I'm passionate about, like, you know, aligned with my values, the ones that my heart knows, regardless if I consciously know about it or not. And with my values and following and doing things in alignment with my values, worth will go up. You know, it's like this is, are you deserving of X, Y, and Z? So number one is from taking action in alignment with who we truly are. Answer these questions while we're here too. So Wait, hold on. No, I already answered that part. Okay. So one is living in alignment with who we truly are. That's number one for self-worth. Is defining my self-worth for better or worse. I would say still something else that I'm not proud of. What else does define my self-worth is, I would say, the number of people who are following me. Unfortunately, like that's a really sad thing to say. That's the honest truth. Like that's something that I'm putting on the table. It's real, and I'm working through. Like it really should not matter how many people are watching on this live right now. It really should not matter at all, because side part of me is doing this live because it helps me feel connected. It helps me feel worthy. It gives me value. When I know that I'm helping other people. Oh, man, this is challenging. And I'm willing to challenge this belief, but I believe that not be dependent on other people. My self-worth should not be dependent on how many people are watching the stream right now. How many people are commenting right now. Like it should not matter at all. I think self-worth should be coming from the internal self, ourselves, not our external self. So let's go back. Again, I'm going to answer this question as fully as I can. Where do I believe my self-worth comes from? Again, we're being very real here, for better or worse. So one is, am I taking action in alignment with my values? That's number one. Number two is my self-worth is attached to my giving to other people. That might be a more clear direction. Yeah. So I'm providing value to other people. I feel like as high, for better or worse. Two. All right. So this is what I'm going to do right now. Right now, I'm going to share with you authentically, vulnerably, personal self-worth from in this moment, for better or worse. And then the next question after that is going to be, how can we improve our self-worth conversation? How do we change and shift so it's more healthy? Okay. So that'll be next. Okay. What else is deriving my self-worth? My self-worth. This is I'm just gonna say it out loud. I don't know how clear this is, but determining my self-worth is the conversation I'm having inside my mind. It's the internal voice that's either putting me down or either putting me down up. And what determines my self-worth in regards to that internal voice I choose, am I letting that negative voice take control, or the vision driven, the positive voice take control? So if my self-worth will go down if I'm giving that negative voice permission to take control of my life versus voice. So that's another thing that affects it too. Comments. I see your comments. I will be reading them in just a second. I want to make sure that I get this flow out, and then I'm going to dive straight into your comments and like comments going on here. Okay. Self-worth. Where else? Again, if you're just hopping on right now, I'm answering in this present moment, for better or worse, where do I derive my self-worth from? So one, alignment. How aligned my actions are with my values. That's number one. Number two is how much value am I giving to other people? That's number two. And 2.5, like our part 2B is maybe it's not just how much value I'm giving to other people. Maybe part of my self-worth is how many people are whatever. Maybe I'm not perfectly clear, but anyway, they're about the same. It's like I'm providing value to other people. That's what I'd say. Number three is what's the what's currently determining my own Richard Coase self-worth is conversation that I'm having in my head. The positive voice versus the negative voice. Which one is it? So I have control over it, but it just depends on the control to the negative voice sometimes versus the positive. So those are three. I want to see if there's anything else that I could just sense off the top of my head that's worth. What else is controlling my self-worth? What? This is kind of an interesting one. This is a little bit tricky. So I think something else that's determining my self-worth is my history. It's my past stories from the past. The stories that I have created myself, experiences of living my life. Let's say when I was a child, the stories that I continue to hold on to till this day. So, for example, let's say one of my old stories is, that I'm not good enough, that I can never be like my older brother and sister who are, straight A students, they're super smart, all that stuff. That's an old story. Now, I believe, I'm being very honest and vulnerable here. I believe there are some stories till today that I still hold on to. I'm not clear on what all the stories are, but I have a feeling that the stories are there. And with that being said, I would say the fourth thing that's contributing to what where does my self-worth come from is, part of it is, am I holding on to the old stories of like when I was a kid? Am I still holding on to the old story of whatever, I'm not good enough, or I'm never ever going to be as smart as my older brother and sister. Like they're just smart. That's just the way that they are. And I think I can tell you right now that there definitely is like a little bit of a hint. I understand that to some extent I am, you could say, intelligent. I have what's the word? I'm intelligent in my own ways. Like I'm my own kind of smart. But I acknowledge that I'm not my brother and sister in the way that they're smart. And sometimes in this present moment, sometimes I almost value their kind of smart more than my own kind of smart. Like theirs is very intellectual, it's very responsible, it's very I know how to run a business slash I'm going to be very successful and make a grow my business, while my intellectual is more less responsible with building up a business, but I don't know what it is, like the ability to connect and stay disciplined in my own kind of way. That's different. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it at that. Those are the four things that I see of where my self-worth is currently coming from. Number one is how aligned am I with my how aligned are my actions with my values. Number two is how much value am I giving to other people in the world, such as on this live stream. Number three is, am I listening? It's the internal voice. Am I listening to the positive, choosing to listen to the positive, or choosing to listen to the negative voice? And then number four is history, looking at the past. What stories am I still holding on to? So those are the four that I could think of what's creating my self-worth conversation in this present moment. Okay. Again, we will get into the second question. Before we get to the second question, I'm going to read all your comments and kind of reply back and answer any questions that I see. Yeah, I see a lot. You guys are having a lot of good conversation. So, but I'm going to repeat the second question out loud so I don't forget it, which is, how do we improve our self-esteem? Okay. How do we improve our self-worth conversation that we have? Okay. So I'm going to hold that question off for just a second, answer your questions, and we're going to dive back into the second part of this stream right now. So let's see here. Alrighty. I'm reading through the comments right now. I'm not going to read everything out loud. Only the ones that are relevant. Okay. All right. Robin asks, how many videos do I make on YouTube every single day? I make one video every single day right now, which is my daily live videos at 8 p.m., which is like the one I'm doing right now. So that's currently what I'm doing. I'm working on, how do I say this? I'm working on, I don't know if this is like the best structure, but right now it is what it is. Like I'm choosing to do one live video every single day, 7 days a week. And people have requested, hey, can you upload those regular videos you used to upload, like those quick, whatever 3 to 5 minute videos on one topic. I don't know how to say it. It's like putting those videos together takes a lot of time, because it's like I need to condense all the thoughts into one. So yeah, I'm open to it. It's just I don't have it structured into my videos right now. So right now we're just doing the lives. I like it because it creates opportunities for conversation. So yeah. Let's see. Robin says, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Jesse says, I think I have conditional self-worth. Conditional self-worth. Andrew Grant says ambition and self-aware. Robin says, I think loving yourself is important. I agree with that. Dawn of the Day says, anyone experiencing the choppiness, it has been more frequent for me, but I don't think it's my connection. It makes it hard to focus. Let's see. Hold on. Oh man, sorry about the choppiness of the stream. I'm trying to figure out why it does that. That's really strange for me. I might if that's, you know what, I might have a fix for that, for the choppiness of the stream. I might test it out tomorrow. Okay, so because of the choppiness of the stream, I will make an adjustment tomorrow. Okay, and it should work tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. All right, so NJ Grant says loving yourself is narcissism. Don't practice that. And then Jesse says not true. You got to practice self-love. And then NJ Grant says it is true you lack empathy on others but yourself, especially not thinking about other people. It's always you and only you, not anyone else. No sympathy. Loving your okay, Jesse says I'm reading these comments out loud because I think it's a very good conversation, and I obviously have my own thoughts around this. Jesse says, loving yourself does not mean you aren't also capable of also loving others at the same time. Narcissists usually don't love themselves, which is why they need others so badly. NJ says, I don't know what you're saying, so I got to drop the topic, Jesse. I'm going to listen to Richard. Yeah, let's see. All right. How do we maintain self-worth and novelty of achievement wears off? Okay, perfect. This is a great place. So I didn't forget your questions, people. I'm going to talk about one thing at a time. So let's talk about self-love right now. This is a great conversation. So NJ, I'm actually going to have to agree with Jesse on this one. I believe self-love is not narcissism. Self-love it's acknowledging that you are a human being and loving yourself for being a human being. It's treating yourself like everyone else, because I think what oftentimes happens is that we how do I say this? I don't know. I feel like everyone's kind of on a different scope with this one, but for the most part, at least for the type of people that I'm surrounded by, for the most part, most people know how to love other people, but they forget how to love themselves. They forget to treat themselves like a human being. Like, it's like, I don't know. I imagine most people in this conversation or in this chat room right now, anyone watching this is probably has a lot of what's the word? It's like self-deprecation. It's like sorry, my mind's not functioning right now. It's when you beat yourself up. It's a lot of us beat ourselves up, and we're overly critical on ourselves because we're constantly, we want to grow, we want to be better. So like the conversations that you might have is like, oh man, dude, you could have done so much better. What you got a B, whatever, you got a B plus. You should have gotten an A. Like you're so worthless. You're not smart enough. Like you're such a failure. Whatever it is. So we're oftentimes hard on ourselves, and self love to me is just remembering that you're a human being and you get to take care of yourself before taking care of others. Why? It's not out of selfishness, but rather it's for me, this is my own perspective of it, but I believe self-love is important. It's important to take care of myself because I'm realizing after hearing people talk about self-love and taking care of yourself first, I realize that really I'm not able to fully give to other people when I'm not taking care of myself. Like when I'm giving and not taking care, like quote unquote being selfless, I got like nothing else to give. Like because literally I'm just completely drained and like I'm not fulfilled at all because I'm giving everything away and I got nothing left to give. So the analogy that people talk about a lot is the cup. And let's say you got a cup, right? You got a cup, and let's say your cup is empty. You're trying to fill up with water. The thing is, when you got nothing, if you got this much water, you got nothing to give. But once you start filling up your cup with water and it starts overflowing, then when you give what is overflowing. You can't give from an empty cup, so you got to fill up your own cup first. So I think that's kind of the whole conversation about self-love. Is fill up your own cup first, and whatever overflows will go into other people. And that's something that I'm trying to learn. But let's talk about narcissism. Let's talk about what is narcissism. And I'm gonna ask my good friend dictionary, narcissism. And I know the general definition of it, but let's see the dictionary definition of it. Narcissism is the excessive or erotic interest in oneself and one's physical appearance. So, interesting. So under synonyms, self-love is under there. Self-admiration, self-absorption, self-obsession, conceit, self-centeredness, and egotism, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so again, this is going to go down to opinions. And yeah, so according to this definition of, excessive or erotic interest in oneself and one's physical appearance, let's read the other definitions. Narcissism is, in psychology, narcissism is extreme selfishness with a grandiose view of one's own talents and a craving for admiration as characterizing a personality type. And then in psychoanalysis, narcissism is self-centeredness arising from failure to distinguish the self from external objects, either in very young babies or as a feature of mental disorder. So to me, narcissism is about like being massively self-centered. It's about, it's very egocentric. It's very like, I'm the best. Everyone look at me. I do things better than everyone else. While self-love to me is more of a, it's I don't know how, it's more, I'll say more of a feminine energy. It's more like this. By the way, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, or anything in between. Like feminine energy is just like, it's a type of energy. It doesn't mean like men have feminine energy, feminine energy and masculine energy. But men, everyone has masculine and feminine energy. It's just some have more than others of certain ones. Anyway, self-love to me is more feminine energy, where it's like this. There's a lot more nurturing involved with self-love versus narcissism, which I feel is more of a masculine energy. That's I don't know if that made sense. Okay, let's see. NJ Grant. So I want to comment on the part you said you like when you self-love, you lack empathy on others but yourself, especially not thinking about others. It's always you and only you, not anyone else. So that explanation is straight up, that isn't the definition of narcissism, in my opinion. Self-love to me is a different definition. Again, we could all break down and redefine for ourselves what do the words mean. Self-love to me is, it's like this, it's not narcissism to me. Yeah. Alrighty. Alrighty. Hopefully that, yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Oh, alrighty. All right. Malia asks, well, first of all, hello, Malia. Thanks for asking the question. What is your MBTI? My MBTI is INFP. That's introvert, intuitive, feeler, perceiver. Okay, INFP. That's funny. So, some people think that I'm a E as I'm an extrovert as opposed to introvert, and I've taken the official test twice, and I'm borderline I and E. I've always identified a little bit more with I, and it's funny because today I kind of realized why I identify as an I. So I went to go get lunch by myself. You know, I went to Suplantation, aka Sweet Tomatoes, and um, like for me, as I ate lunch by myself, which I was perfectly comfortable with. You know, like I enjoy going out and just eating by myself. Like it's very calming. Like that's my time to relax. Um, I realized that oftentimes I'm starting to deny a lot more of, Richard, do you want to hang out? So no offense to anyone who wants to hang out with me, and I say no. I realize I like my alone time. It's like my alone time is my time to recharge, and I most definitely do enjoy hanging out with people, but I like my alone time too. So I went to the restaurant, ate by myself. You know, this is like a sit down restaurant. It's like a salad buffet restaurant, whatever. As I sat there, I'm like, huh. You know, I see all these people. Most people are hanging out with other people. I'm that one guy sitting by myself. I just had a thought. I'm like, what if I invited a friend, you know, to come eat with me? I could, but honestly, I'd rather just eat by myself right now. Like it's more relaxing for me. So, just a random thought. Eat by yourself. That's what I gotta say. Jesse says, "How do we maintain self worth when the novelty of an achievement wears off?" I'm going to refer to a podcast, a personal development podcast I listened to yesterday by Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory, and he was talking about self worth. He was talking about how should we define our self worth. With self worth, I believe we always, according to what I heard Tom say, Tom Bilyeu, heard him say was, when it comes to self-worth, we always attach self-worth to something. Something that we attach our self-worth to changes based off of our own decision. To attach our self-worth to something that is, at the terms he used, more like dependent on other people slash, so let's talk about an achievement. Let's say we are to fame. That's a perfect one, right? A lot of people pursue fame because it makes them feel worthy. You achieve fame, you know, you get a lot of subscribers and you get a lot of followers and you become a celebrity, become a movie star. What happens is over time, if fame is all you're pursuing, eventually you'll fame is boring. Like that it wasn't all that caught up, all that it my brain's not working right now. This is taking a lot of thinking. That what it was caught up to be. Is that the phrase? Oh, goodness, please forgive me. Okay. So what do you do there? So Tom's suggestion, and you know, I respect Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory, because he's a super high achiever, you know, running a multi-billion-dollar company, Quest Nutrition. He says he attaches his self-worth to, I believe he said growth. It was something around the lines of growth. It was something along the lines of something that's like moving and growing. So it's like you'll never ever, have a dull and I achieve, but now it's dull to me because I already achieved this and I have nowhere else to go. He says that he just his self-worth to growth. To me, that's like, oh, that's now that I'm thinking about it, like it's kind of cool because we're constantly, you can never stop growing. Growing mentally, growing, whatever you want to say. So I think that's a great place to start. Um, back off that. By the way, my answer, whatever about to tell you, is literally off the top of my head. I haven't even thought about what my answer is. It's just we'll see how it goes. So I want to answer the question for myself, which is how would I maintain self worth when the novelty of achievement wears off? For me personally, how would I maintain my self worth? My personal answer is I would personally maintain my own self worth off, like, after, let's say, I speak on a lot of different stages and I get subscribers, blah blah blah, stuff that honestly doesn't really matter. I believe my personal self-worth will come from, again, the number one thing for me, which was action in alignment with my purpose, so or sorry, with my values. So is I am putting in the work every single day. For example, my values is, again, living a healthy lifestyle. So exercising regularly. It's waking up, get present, get centered. What else is part of my values? It's being in integrity. It's being honest, vulnerable, open, sharing, non-judgmental, accepting of other people. Let's see what else is in my values. The desire to help. Like, as long as living life and taking action in alignment with my values, I believe that's what's going to maintain my self-worth, make myself continue to be more valuable. Day says, rewatch your recordings and see what I mean. It is less frequent today, though. Got it. So if we're talking about the choppiness, because I turned down the quality to medium versus high, it's choppy. It is what it is. What are your views on K-pop star Jungkook's suicide? To be honest, I did not hear about that. That is really sad, though. I'm gonna Google this real quick. That's really sad. So, really great question. I just read a headline. So the headline here is K-pop star's suicide note reveals pressures of fame, depression that confused him. Goodness gracious, that's wow. Thanks for that question. Seriously, like, that's okay. Let's talk about this for a second. I don't know too many details about suicide, or who he was. I wish I knew a little bit more. Just, I don't know how, like, oh my goodness, like this is whatever you want to say, tugging on my heartstrings or whatever. I don't know how to say it. Like, it almost hits too close to home in some ways. Like, it's like, I don't know, just thinking about, I don't know this guy, but just thinking about the fact that who, quote unquote, had the life. Other people are like, oh man, like, I fanboy, like, you're the most amazing person in the whole entire world. Like, you're so amazing. I wish I could be you. You're my role model. And now this person, and based off the title I just read, which is essentially, I'm going to read it again. What is it? Title said, pressures of fame. Committing suicide because of the pressures of fame, depression, just feeling confused. I think really sad. It's like, like, we're all just human beings, and we'll get put into these situations where they become a celebrity figure, it's like they don't. It's very hard to manage and process and all that stuff. Like it takes all just normal people, and sometimes that stuff is just way too much. And yeah, that's crazy. Like that really does make me sad. It's like I should ever have to deal with those pressures, and I feel like me, just it makes me want to continue to be like, what, like we really need to. Why we as human beings are so important. Like it is I believe it's our responsibility to this and kind of be an advocate for it. Like let's more resources in the music industry that help artists, pop stars, whatever it is, learn how to deal with the emotions of being famous, but also being. And a lot of it, I think, is as a pop star or as this celebrity, a mask. And when you put on a mask and you're hiding, you're trying to put on this persona, very confusing. It's very expressing your true self. You're putting on a mask. That's like you're trying to fake someone else. Jung Hyun very well, but use the case around that. Brother. PJ says, "Hey brother, I'm getting ready to do my own Facebook Live right now too. Otherwise, I join you. Proud of you and impressed by you. Thank you so much, brother. I that means a lot, especially coming from you. Good luck on your Facebook Live, brother. Alrighty. Narcissism deals with how important you think you are. Self-love is a very debatable topic. Self-love is often compared to selfishness, egotism. Interesting. I like to stay away from the concept of self-love personally. Interesting. Interpretation of self-love is completely different. I don't see self-love as conceitedness, egotism. Like it's completely different. Self-love to me is like almost like it's service. It's like, by the way, like I love this because glad we're having this conversation. It's given me a lot of thoughts. I always had this idea like, no, like, self-love is conceited. Like I shouldn't be focusing on myself, focus on other people. It's all about giving, right? So I used to give. And I would give so much to the point where like, so I didn't tell myself I was this selfish person, like I wanted to self and giving to the point where it was almost like, how do I say this? I can't figure out like the right languaging for this, but I was giving to the point where I was giving to seek validation from other people. I was giving to make other people, to impress other people. And I wasn't giving for myself anymore. I guess where I'm at right now, me being my 28-year-old self, it's a balance. I definitely do give, but at the same time, it's like, or to take care of myself is, this is my life, and that person's happiness that I am responsible for, or like own. And for example, we all have our environment. We all have family. We all have friends. We all people around us that influence us. I'm at a place where I just recognize like, hey, you know what? Like I really do get to take care of myself. I to keep myself happy. And when I keep myself happy, I can people. Like that's my mindset around it. And yeah, learning. And this is so I am a huge supporter of self-love in the way of we got to take care of ourselves in order to take care of other people. We got to fill up our cup first, other people's cups, versus trying to pour from an empty cup, which means there's not much for us to give. I respect people's opinions. I love opinions that you have. They're not right or wrong. They're just your opinions, which is all right. Robin, thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. Watch. That's really interesting. It's fun to watch. I mean, I don't know how entertaining I am right now. We're having a philosophical conversation about life and self-worth and stuff. Haley says, that is great insight, both Tom's view and your own answer. Okay, I will use them to help me form a stronger foundation for my own self-worth. Thank you. You're welcome. Say thank you, everyone, for giving me this opportunity to have this conversation about self-worth. I think this is such a huge conversation that we're having right now. Don of the Day said, what is the impact of how others affect your self-worth? Okay, so I'm going to split this question up into what's the impact of how others affect my self-worth in the past and in the present. So how people have affected my self-worth historically in the past. I feel like I've essentially let other people dictate my self-worth completely. Just like I've given my power away. I had a lot of strong voices in my family. I'm the youngest. I was the weak voice in the family. You got to do this. You got to get straight A's. You got to whatever, apply for these colleges. You have to get a job. You have to do this. You got to take violin and do this. So I was always constantly listening to her. Essentially, at a young age, I conscious/unconscious decision to give up my power. Right, everything you say is right, and I followed her. I gave up my power. So she ended up defining my self-worth in a way. The power, I gave her the permission to define my own self-worth. In hindsight, I shouldn't have done. That was strong voice number one in my family. Strong voice number two was my brother, older brother, a year and a half older than me. He was getting straight A's. He was making lots of money in middle school selling Pokemon cards, made $2,000 in the 7th grade selling Pokemon cards. What else? Just like he guided the way, and he always wanted to mentor me. He always wanted to help me. So I'm a voice like, hey, Richard, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Like, hey, Richard, this is going to be good for you. You got to join this club. You got to be president of this club. You got to get involved here. You got to, and so he was trying to guide me. I was trying to be like everyone else. I was trying to appease and make everyone else happy to the point where I was not making people happy because I was not fulfilling their expectations of me. I was not fulfilling their expectations, nor was I fulfilling my own expectation, because I knew fulfilling their expectation, which was my version of self-worth. It's like fulfilled their expectations. That's probably honestly still not good enough. Like self-worth back in the day, I had to exceed their expectations. So not just get straight A's, but like dominate in all areas of my life. It almost feels like it's never ending. It's like once you hit a certain mark, if you get straight A's, if you're president of every single club, if you're whatever varsity on every single sports team, I almost feel like I would still not feel good enough. Still need to do more. That's the mindset back then. Define my self-worth back then. Now let's talk about today. Of how others affect my self-worth today. Completely real. As a human being, imperfect human being, I would say people do worth. And how do I say this? I would say then and today, I'm more conscious, self-aware of how people affect my self-worth. I choose to engineer my environment for positive or higher self-worth. People people are bringing me up, if people are bringing me down, I don't want to hang out with them anymore. That's the general thought around how other people impact my self worth. It's like I'm decent slash pretty good with people. I just there's a lot of people who are going to bring you down. So you got to be selective. You got to, I believe you got to be selective. You get to really the closest people that you spend the most time with. We spend the most time with. It is perfectly okay slash friends that you once in a while meet up with, super close with, but just be careful with you hang out with, the more negative you'll end up being yourself. So the more positive you are going to end up being yourself. So that's my answer to that one. By the way, I just want to give a quick reminder that we still have not answered the second big question, which is how do we improve our self-esteem moving forward, which I'll get to once we're caught up with the questions here. Let's see. Says, what is your favorite movie? This is not the first time. And this reaction, because I always forget. Remember my favorite movies. There's a lot of great movies. I feel kind of sad that I can't think of. Ooh, like that one was really awesome. I just forget them. And they're great movies, but I want to think of those other ones. That movie's awesome. So, off the top of my head, this is more on the lighter side. I like more real, authentic, like deep stuff. Deep. That's the word I'm looking for. But Back to the Future, the trilogy, all three of them are amazing. I love them. What else? I like. This is silly. I mean, my favorite movie, but I just like the movie. I like the vibe of the movie of Now You See Me. Movie. The second one was whatever. 21 Jump Street. I don't know. I thought that was a funny movie. I haven't watched in a while. I don't know if it's still funny. Man, I feel like there's so many deep movies that I'm completely disrespecting because I can't think of what they are off the top of my head, which is super unfortunate. I like Good Will Hunting, a little bit old school. Beautiful Mind, these. I'm trying to think. Goodness, yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I feel disrespectful to a lot of great movies that I'm for leaving off the list right now. Let's see, Rob, can you have a shout out? There you go, shout out Robin. Shout out to Robin. So this is an interesting conversation right here. Why are we looking for a shout out? Why are we looking for a shout out? What is that? How does that relate with self-worth? What are you looking for? Attention? What is the purpose of it? So I'm not I don't mean to call you out, Robin. But by the way, again, I'm not calling you out in any way. We all have this certain desire, and you're not the only one who asks for shout outs. People hop on hey, can you give me a shout out? I'm just like, yeah, sure. To me, it's not to me, a shout out is a shout out. It's yeah, sure, of course. Because it makes other people feel special. It's why are we looking for shout outs? We're looking for shout outs because we want to be noticed, right? And I think that is so perfectly human. Human beings want to be noticed. Very, how do I say this? Very normal human emotion. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be noticed. Want to be significant in a way. And I'm trying to figure out, is there a way to... Anyway, honestly, in this moment, I don't think so. It's I would say, you know what, if there were any kind of improvements on this thought of needing a shout out or needing that feeling of significance, number one is, first of all, before I mention it, number one is, all humans have a need of feeling significant or feeling that kind of stuff. So don't deny that human. What I'll also add on top of that is, are accepted and you are significant the way you are already. So I guess my point, this goes back to self-love. This goes back to self-worth. Knowing that you're good enough just the way that you are, that you don't need else. Just know that, Robin, anyone else, just know that you are good enough the way you are. Sorry, that was deep. Hopefully that supported some people. All right, Johnny Leg, good to see you on, as always. Thanks for all the questions. Always feed into this, into our conversations. Johnny Leg says, do we need do things for others just to not be quote unquote selfish? Just do these good, quote unquote, good things because it makes us feel good. It's selfish. That's a great question. So let's see. Do we do good things to not be selfish? That we do things for other people that makes us feel good. Definition is selfish because we want to feel good about it. Here, this is where I want to be clear that being selfish is not a bad thing. In our culture, it has a negative connotation. It has this idea of, you're a bad person if you're selfish. You're so selfish, and then selfless people are so, they're angels. They're so great, all this stuff. And I love a question, can we truly be selfless? I think us being selfless, you could say, Richard Kuo, the guy who always gives stuff, always does these live streams for free, blah, blah, blah. Selfless. No, there's a selfish motive. Is it makes me feel good that I'm giving, that's why I do it. So nothing wrong with being selfless or selfish. I think the bigger question for us is a positive way that is helping other people or hurting other people or whatever, helping ourselves, hurting ourselves. So that's a great comment though. All right, Johnny, second question here. Maybe there are quote unquote flaws within our concept of selfishness. Okay. Oh, okay. That's relevant. I personally practice optimism, nihilism. Myself question common concepts that we make. Optimistic nihilism. I'm not clear on what that is right now. Let's see. Optimistic nihilism. Just because we're all doomed doesn't mean we can't have a good time. That's funny. Is that it? Is that the definition of it? Search the trusty Urban Dictionary for this one. All right. That there is nothing. Everything life appears to be is perception, morals, in fact, are all subjective. Despite this, we only escape provides little alternative as it leads to the cessation of all thoughts. Okay. Off of Urban Dictionary of optimistic nihilism, which is, what's great about life? I don't mean that it doesn't matter. Life. I mean that what's great about life is that it doesn't matter. Aliens don't matter. Black holes don't matter. We don't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing to strive for. Life is nothing. It's probably an illusion anyway. We might as well all be dead. Why care about anything? See that painting? Who cares? It probably doesn't exist, but it sure is beautiful. Oh, who cares? There's no point anyway, but it sure is fun. See that human you're in love with? Who cares? It's even real, and love is just an illusion. Well, yeah, but it still feels really nice and it's a lot of fun. So why not just kick back, relax, and enjoy yourself on the pointless and non-existent, but undeniably awesome ride of life. Greatest definition ever. I'm gonna. Uh, I just gave a thumbs up to that one. That was great. I couldn't have written a better definition myself right there. You, Johnny, you say you personally practice optimistic nihilism, and I often find myself questioning common concepts that we make. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, so this is great. So optimistic nihilism dives into existentialism. It's this idea of like, do we really matter? Does us being here really matter? That's funny. I made a YouTube video about this. It had like a super serious tone of like, do you really matter? 3 billion people in this world. Do you really matter? Matter. Oh goodness, it's funny. I don't know. Sometimes I make sometimes, but sometimes they make me cringe at the same time. And it's like opinions. Let's see here. Do we matter? That's a great question. Do we matter? That's for each one of us to decide. That's all up to interpretation if we matter or not. You know, I see it from both sides. I see one part of us that none of us matter because it's, and there's another part where we do matter because we choose ourselves importance and reasons and things like that. Like, yeah, it's all perspective. You know, it's, you can argue with me and I'll, you know, respectfully be like, hey, that's an awesome opinion. You're right. But that doesn't make me wrong. You know, I'm right. That doesn't make you wrong. We just have different opinions. Chad Brewer, how are you so happy with yourself? I don't know who are you talking about me? How am I so happy with myself? If you are, I'll try to answer that. Let's talk about this. How am I so happy with myself? Am I happy with myself? That's a great question. Is Richard happy with himself? Oh goodness. If you could just dig into Richard's mind right now. I would say in general, in these past few weeks / month, I would say I've been more happy with myself. Definitely not always happy with myself. Today was a very overwhelming day for me. I'm surprised that my energy is up. Like, I'm surprised my energy it's flowing right now. Honestly, it's like talking to all of you makes me forget about my problems in a way. It's like it makes me forget about the stress that I just had. Like, it was had at 7:30, 30 minutes before the live stream. Like, dude, Richard, like, I'm done. Like, I just give at this point. Like, it's like I'm so mentally just like gone. Like, I can't focus anymore. And I'm like, I need for 30 minutes and take a nap. I was some things and a 7-minute nap in this chair right before this live stream. And if you saw me early on live stream, I was a little bit like out of it, all over the place. I'm just like, oh my goodness, I have such a hard time focusing. Anyway, am I happy with myself? So this is a tricky question. I have a feeling that get this impression that Richard is this happy person. Like, you know, like this is, I'm trying to be my authentic, genuine self. Very open with how I feel. I'm very open with, and I share pretty much everything. Of course, there's a few things I don't share, like very, very personal stuff. But I like to think I'm a pretty open person. Oh, how do I say this? That's a tricky question. Sorry. It's like in this moment for these past few weeks, I've been very, very grateful, very, very happy. I'll give you that one. Am I happy with myself? Not completely. Part of me that's like deep down inside, deeply rooted, that it's like there's like this unhappy part of me it's a fight. It's a fight to not focus on that energy, and it's working pretty well. You know, it's a fight though. It's a battle every single day. It's that anxiety. You know, I start feeling stressed. I start feeling negative, and those are those small little moments. Choice, keeping stressed out, or do we make a decision in that one moment? That negative energy you're feeling, that stress, that overwhelm, let it go. It's not serving you. That's why 30 minutes before my live stream, even though I had a lot of work to do, I was like, Richard, just stop. Stop stressing yourself out. Stop it. And conscious decision. You know, it was me a while because I was frustrated. I was like, I have so much work to do, but I just so I was trying to figure out what the balance is. How do I get my work done, but also not stress myself out so much? So wow, we dove pretty deep into this conversation today. It's already an hour, 6 minutes, and we still haven't answered the second part of the question. If you don't know my style, pretty much improvised. It's like I don't even know my answer yet for the second question. What the second question is, how do we improve our self-esteem? Or how do we improve our self-worth? Or how do we change the conversation of our self-worth to make it better? And I'm going to improvise this answer. But before I do, I saw Johnny Legg. Let's see. Johnny Legg says, disclaimer for people, nihilism often comes out as a negative way of thought, but just to get it clear, it's not negative nor is it positive. It just is from enjoying life. I think that's great. Honestly, I see that. I think nihilism is a very neutral stance. Life is life. Like, it is what it is. Like, that seems super neutral to me. So thank you for the disclaimer. I could see how people would what nihilism is. It's also very, if people are judging you, to assume, oh, nihilism is negative because of this. It's an opinion. I love the second definition on Urban Dictionary of nihilism, those optimistic nihilism. Those. Okay, let's go to the final question. So final question is, how do we improve our self-worth conversation to ourselves? A tricky one. I know I'm going to have answers, and I know I'm not going to be practicing all of these. So this is just for awareness for all of us, myself included, especially myself. Take it from an I perspective. So, it just helps me self-reflect. How could I improve my own self-worth conversation? To stop putting my self-worth factors. In this case, I need to stop on what's the value I give to other people. The problem with this is my self-worth is it is in my control because I can, work harder and harder and harder, impacting other people's lives, give value to other people. However, the problem that I see and feel is that if you determine my self-worth based off what the value I give is, never ending, like, I'm never ever going to be happy because I'm always going to want to give more, and I'm always going to feel like it's going to be an endless cycle. I could already see it. Here's a quick example. So right now, my YouTube has 7,000 subscribers. I was looking at Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu currently has 200, about 210 subscribers. And what's interesting to me is, one, I'm super proud of Tom Bilyeu. Like, he got this 210,000 subscribers in less than half a year or something like that. And he had a very clear vision, all that stuff. But the main point was, I started thinking, What if I had 210,000 subscribers? Would I be happy? Honestly, I wouldn't be happy. If I reached 210,000 subscribers, honestly, to me, I would just feel like, cool. If I reach 1 million subscribers, I'd be like, cool. It'd be like the subscriber count itself would not make me happy. It would not make me fulfilled. Maybe the conversations, the impact that I have, sure it would. But I feel like if I put my self-worth on the value that I'm giving, how many lives I'm impacting, something tells me that I'll never ever be happy, because I will always feel like I'm still not doing enough impact. So that tells me I need to change my model for how I see my self-worth. Okay. So that's number one. Don't attach it to external factors. I think self-worth needs to come from the inside. So what's another way? I'm thinking out loud. By the way, feel free to chime in on your thoughts on how you. I want to hear from you. I'm just one voice. I want to hear from you. How do you believe we can all develop our self-worth conversation to make it better? I'd love to hear that. Yeah, because I think we all have a lot of powerful, bright minds in this room. Okay. So I believe I agree with Tom Bilyeu. I believe self-worth, solid self-worth, that satisfying self-worth, the one that we value ourselves, the one that we know we're like, yo, like I'm not out of narcissism, but rather out of just confidence. Like I feel great, like I know my worth. I'm confident because I know it internally. And that internal factor to me, again, I feel like it's something around, I think there's alignment. Taking action in alignment with our values. I believe that's my belief, my current belief that's the secret sauce right there. If you want to improve your self-worth, start taking action, start doing actions, start taking actions that are in alignment with your values. So that's, if you don't know your values, break down. Ask yourself, what are my values? What do I believe in? What are my truths? What I believe in is the right thing. Being honest. It's giving. It's whatever it is. It's not being judgmental. It's accepting people. It could be a lot of different things. Okay. So I want to wrap up this question. I'm going to see if there's any other little areas we could touch upon in terms of how do we improve our self-worth conversation. One is living life in alignment. It's taking action in alignment with our values. What else is a healthy way to develop our self-worth, our own value in ourselves? I think that covers it really well. It's like, it's trusting. It's, how do I say this? Let's see. Self-worth. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that covers it, right? I feel like I nailed I hit the nail on the head. Oh goodness, I'm so out of it. Okay, cool. So if I were to leave you all with one tip on how do we build up our own self-worth, I believe the answer is take action in alignment with your values. That seems like a really solid answer to me. Like I can't think of anything else. Let me know. I would love to hear your answers. I'd love to be challenged. Because my goal is to redefine like self-worth. Like I want to be challenged. I want to be proven wrong, because I want to refine this definition of self-worth, this how do you improve your self-worth conversation. I want to refine it so much, be challenged so much, be proven wrong so many times, to the point where I adjust it to the point where like I know within my soul that this is the right answer, so I can help even more people figure that out for themselves, and because I 100% believe in it. But so far, I feel pretty aligned with that answer. Take action in alignment with your values. Alrighty. Chad Brewer, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Stay blessed. Let's see. Johnny Lex says, do you think self-worth requires comparison? I even have to, without even thinking about anything, the immediate answer before I even finish reading this question is no. I do not believe self-worth requires comparison. Now, is that the right answer? Hold on. I'm having a hard time thinking. My gut immediately says no. I don't. I think self-worth has. I almost want to say it has nothing to do with comparison. I know that society compares a lot, and our self-worth to society standards, in our culture, self-worth is oftentimes based off of how we compare ourselves with other people. If we see other people more successful than us, then our self-worth is lower. If we see that we are more successful than other people or doing better than other people, our self-worth becomes seemingly higher than other people. So that's a great question. Now that I process that a little bit more and understand what you're trying to ask. But I think the problem with this kind of self-worth is that it's external self-worth. And I believe that's the most dangerous kind of self-worth that you could have. I think self-worth needs to come from the inside. It needs to come internally. It needs to like if you want strong self-worth, if you want that self-worth that feels good, authentically just feels great for you, it has to come from the inside. It cannot come from external sources. If you want your self-worth to come from external sources, I believe you're setting yourself up to fail. Like you're setting yourself up for a miserable life. And now, granted, some people figure out a way to use external sources to validate their self-worth and be happy. And I'm perfectly happy for them. I'm just going to stereotype this example. Let's say that, multimillionaire who, whatever, made a lot of money, lives in a mansion, and they figure out like, dude, I can't believe I made it to, where I'm at right now. This is amazing. I want to say people who don't have strong values, people who focus just on the money and, become a millionaire, my belief is that these people ended up being very unhappy with their lives, because I believe chasing money, chasing fame, all these things can only support you so long. Like it doesn't fulfill those deeper human needs of whatever it is, connection, love, all that stuff. Now I believe the people, the rich, successful people, the millionaires who do have good values, the ones who practice gratitude, the ones that practice whatever, compassion, love, connection, they're balanced. I believe those people are happy, are more likely happy. Of course, things can be situational too. We could have, I don't know, deaths in the family. We can have just sad events that happen in our lives that affect us for sure. Okay, cool. Tom Sturgis says, how about self-worth is because we are all one? Interesting one there. Self-worth is because we are all one. Self-worth is because we are all one. Okay, so this is coming from the perspective of, I don't know, like the universal, the idea that we are one. So how I'm translating this in my whatever brain cells I have left right now, we are worthy because we are all one. We are worthy. We have self-worth. Everyone has worth because I have worth plus you have worth because we are one. This seems like a cool idea. I don't, my mind can't process it. This is too meta for me. This is too intense. All right, cool. Thanks for that. Thanks for that suggestion, Tom. My mind's it's tripped out right now. Okay, cool. Hey, here's what I want to leave everyone with. I want to leave you all with a thank you. So thank you. And I want to say thank you because I don't know, this is kind of funny. Sometimes I don't think you understand the difference in my life that all of you make for me, because you all give me a platform to think out loud. You all give me a platform to figure out a lot of these really big life questions that I just think about. But honestly, if I'm sitting by myself, so here's what I've learned, and my girl Christine helped me kind of realize this for myself as well, which is I'm a very I'm a very vocal person. I'm a vocal thinker, meaning if I'm quietly trying to process the information in my head, it's slow and it goes in loops. If I try to type it out, it's slow and it doesn't process completely. But when I speak it out, when I have conversations with people like you, it comes out and it formulates itself. So in this conversation, honestly, I don't know if this conversation for me is life changing, but it might be because in this conversation, you all just helped me realize how I've been living my self worth, like how I've been defining my self worth, and how do I get to improve my self worth conversation moving forward. So thank you. Like, seriously, I know that you probably didn't notice that you were helping me out, but literally you were like this whole time. Like, I'm going to reflect after this conversation, and this might seriously be like game changing for me. I feel I feel so drunk right now. I'm not drunk, like sleepy drunk. Like it's like anyway, it's a funny feeling. It's like I feel very like lightheaded and like spacey. It's kind of fun too. I enjoy it. I just can't. I can't. I'm not focused. All right. Donald says stream quality was better towards the last 30 minutes. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. That helps. I don't know how to improve it completely, but that's good to know. And we appreciate your perspective, Richard. It's very inspiring. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jesse, thank you for hopping on. Chad, Johnny, and Tom as well, and anyone else who's on. Sorry if I missed you. Robin, Malia, NJ, a random person you might possibly know. Yeah, so thank you everyone for hopping on. I appreciate it. I'll be on tomorrow. Tomorrow is, well, today's Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday here. I will be on tomorrow. Again, if you have any topics you want to talk about and discuss, let's talk about it. Just shoot me a message, email me, or shoot me a message on either YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. Just find me, shoot me a message, and we'll talk, and we'll do that. I want to wrap up with Tom's comments. So we're talking about self-worth and oneness. He said our quote unquote our separateness is the illusion. Stream quality on Facebook has been good. Thank you for the confirmation there. Let's see here. So Tom is stating Tom's perspective, and this is the whole idea, like the universe, we are all one. So he's saying separateness, separation, our individual bodies, like Richard and Tom and Johnny and Don and Jesse, like we are all separate beings. Like that is all just an illusion. But in his perspective, in his belief, we are all one. But the separation of us is just the illusion that we've created for ourselves. I'm really interested in understanding this. Like I've always been interested in like spirituality and understanding these concepts. There are times where I understood it, or I felt it to some extent, but then there's times where I lose that like connectedness, that oneness, that understanding. How are we all one? So I look forward to learning more about this, because to me this reminds me of meditation. Like to me, meditation was super confusing, and now that I'm progressing, it's still super confusing, but it's getting better. Okay, cool. Anyway, time to go. My brain's fried. Good night, everyone. Lots of love, sending loves, sending good vibes, and all that good stuff. See you on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's see. And last comment from Tom. He says, how about you have to believe you are separate from others to think your worth is different? Oh, goodness. This sounds like such good conversation. Thank you. I'm gonna pause right now. My brain's fried. Thank you, though. Well, we need to continue this conversation, Tom. Okay. Good night, everyone.